Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present my paper. Respected Chairperson, Dr. Narayan, sir, and my fellow paper presenters and participants, very good afternoon. I am Dr. Kunchuk Tashi from Central University of Jharkhand, and this paper is co-authored by Mr. Shashikumar Mishra, who is my colleague in the same department. So today my topic is the polysemy of the deictic motion verbs in Ladakhi. So to begin with, I will give a brief introduction about Ladakhi language, and most of you must be knowing though. So historically, Ladakhi language is originated from the classical Tibetan, which comes under the Tibeto-Burman language family. And Ladakhi is spoken in the two districts of Ladakh, the newly formed Union Territory of Ladakh, that is Leh district and Kargil district. And before the bifurcation, Ladakhi language used to be one of the regional languages in the state of Jammu and Kashmir state, along with other languages. It was recognized under a sixth schedule of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution. So, however, it is now not yet recognized by the administration of Union Territory of Ladakh. So, to begin with a small introduction about the topic, the present article is a cognitive semantic perspective of polysemy in the semantic field of deictic motion verbs in Ladakhi. An effort is being made in the present article to analyze the polysemy that exists in the semantic field of deictic motion verbs in Ladakhi language. Motion verbs typically profile or focus on the parts of complex source, path, goal schema. The English verbs like to come, to arrive, to reach, and to bring inherently profile the goal of a movement, whereas the verbs like to go, to leave, to depart, and to take inherently profile the source of a movement, and to move, to pass, to travel inherently profile the path of a movement. Now, there have been two major approaches. One by the deictic center approach by Talmy. The second one is Fillmore's approach based on the notions of person, space, and time. So the Talmy's approach, it has been commonly believed that go, the verb go describes motion from the deictic center, whereas come, the verb come describes motion towards the deictic center. According to Talmy, deictic motion verbs are a kind of part conflating verbs in which deictic component of the part typically has only two component motions toward the deictic center. So the Fillmore's the framework is concerned. Fillmore's classic works are often taken as a showing how complex coming and going verbs really are. He analyzes the use conditions of these verbs in terms of deictic categories of person, place, and time. Fillmore's characterizes the distribution of English verb go and come as follows. Come indicates the motion towards the speaker, whereas go indicates the motion towards the location distinct from the speaker's location at the utterance time. Now, coming to the deictic motion verbs, in most of the languages, coming and going are assumed to have a deictic in nature. Motion, that is change of location, plays an important role in both in our perceptual organization, in our conceptualization of reality through the use of language. Lakoff and Johnson argue that our understanding of motion is based on an abstract image schema, which includes source, path, goal, and direction as its structural elements. The source, path, goal schema typically involves a force which imparts a vector, which means directionality, on the moving object. Forces are experienced in the causal chain. They have origins, directions, and path of motions. Now, Radent in 1996 observes that the most typical verbs of motion in English, as in most other languages, are the deictic motion verbs to come and to go. These are also the two verbs that are most commonly used to express changes of states. The Ladakhi language, the Ladakhi deictic motion verbs, yong, it is pronounced like yong, come and cha, which is go, have number of extended senses. The prototype meaning of the deictic motion verb yong denotes the movement of an animate towards the speaker, whereas the deictic motion verb cha, go, shows the movement of an animate away from the speaker. Now coming to the deictic motions verbs in Ladakhi language, the diverse uses of the deictic motion verb yong in example 1 below are grouped under 3 major categories. One shows the prototypical meaning in the physical motion. The second one shows the non-prototypical meaning in physical domain. And the third one shows metaphorically extended meanings in change of state. But all these 3 major senses are semantically related to each other by means of a metaphorical shift from physical space to mental space and change of state. Now coming to the prototype meaning of the deictic motion verb yong, the domain of spatial motion verb yong in physical space, there is a spatial movement of the theme, that is the theme animate physically moves through a spatial path towards the concrete location. Now I am giving some examples in Ladakhi language which is taken from a dictionary, Ladakhi English Urdu dictionary. Yong, ko le na dir namyons. This is the Ladakhi sentence, and I have given the gloss to gloss translation as well, which means when did he come from le. Within these senses of physical domain, the most central meaning of the verb yong is almost same as come in English. In this sense, in example verb above, the motion is towards the landmark, the speaker's position, a special location provides the prototypical sense of yong. The destination of the theme is primary landmark and thus profile. The secondary landmark is the theme's departure point, the source, which is also profile here. Now coming to the non-prototype meaning of the verb yong, while the domain for the spatial motion verb is physical space, in the following examples, it is found that the inanimate theme moves through a spatial path towards a concrete location. Now let us look at the examples. It also refers to flow down. For example, Rina Chu Yongduk. Water flows from the mountain. The second one is fall down, to fall down. Thok pikana lunskor buteyons. The fan got detached from the ceiling and fell down. In above examples, the first one, motion of inanimate subject water that flows from the source mountain is a spatial location. The source is the secondary landmark and thus profile here. In the second example, the motion is also of inanimate object, the fan, that detaches from the source ceiling and spatial location. The source is the secondary landmark and also thus profile here. In these examples, the meanings remain physical, although it is not the same as the prototype meaning in example 1. There has been a metaphorical shift from the prototypical physical meaning of yong, that is animate movement, to a different physical domain, inanimate movement. Similar shift is also found in some other examples also. Let us look at those examples. It also refers to fall, for example, of snow and rain. There was much snowfall in winter. In this example, the motion is of inanimate theme, snow, that falls from a source which is backgrounded. I mean, the source is not known here and thus not profile here. The phrase source is backgrounded indicates that the source can be pointed out, but in this sense, it is not profile, hence backgrounded. The source can be observed clearly in the cases of the following example. Let us look at these examples. That it also refers to be available. For example, di goslak po marten yung amano. This dress is not available in red color. It also refers to be enough. That is taken from again this dictionary by Ahmad. Goslak tsemba ras po mayons, which means the cloth was not enough to stitch the dress. These meanings in example 1 and 4 above are extended to refer to the motions be available from the state of availability to non-availability of things, be enough from cloth to dress, respectively in the physical domain, which within the physical domain the sources are unknown in some instances. Now coming to the non-predictable meaning of yong in metaphorical extension and changes of states. Spatial motion and change of state in abstract sense is semantically related to each other by means of metaphorical shift from the physical space to mental space. The conceptual metaphor change of state is a change of location. or change is motion appears to be highly motivated and probably universal also. The change of state expresses phrase preceding an entity's transition to a new state. The metaphorical motion ends in a state which is seen a new beginning. The topological elements of the motion schema, path and goal are directly mapped onto the structure of change of state. Let's see some examples. These three examples are also taken from the dictionary, Ladakhi English dictionary. It refers to feeling sleepy. Kwa nit yong duk. Again, the term yong is used here. He feels sleepy. And the second one is get cold. Na dang champa yong. I was affected with cold yesterday. And the last one is the become to become. Kwa sho shante yong. He became much angry. Now, it also refers to smell. Kharji jagmangs borna timar sopo yongchan. If you keep the food for many days, it will develop bad smell. This is the meaning. And the rice dove, in the case of dove, taki chua bagzan poa skur mayong suk. The dove didn't turn sour for making chapati. This is some kind of Ladakhi traditional food. So I am not sure whether the actual sense is getting or not. The dove didn't turn sour for making chapati. Now, in these examples, the meanings are metaphorically extended to refer to feel, unsleeping state to sleeping, be affected, the state of with cold or to without cold, become normal state to angry state, develop the state of fresh food to stale food, turn the state of dove to sour dove, respectively. The metaphorical usages are extended here to describe the changes of states in abstract sense, not physical, where paths and goals are profiled and sources are unknown. There is a significant, therefore, there is a significant difference between the examples under A, B, and C stated above. The meaning in A is the prototypical meaning, the central meaning, whereas the other senses B and C are metaphorically being extended to refer to the senses in physical domain and changes of state respectively. Now coming to the second verb, cha, the deictic motion verb cha, which means go, to go in Ladakhi. These usages are also being, categorized under two main categories. One shows the prototypical meaning. The second also shows metaphorically extended senses in physical domain and conceptual domain, as well as in changes of states. These two major categories are semantically related to each other by means of metaphorical shift from prototypical meaning to a physical space and mental space. Now let's see some examples of prototype meaning of cha. The domain for the spatial motion verb cha, go in Ladakhi, is in physical. There is a spatial movement of the theme, that is the theme animate physically moves through a spatial path towards a concrete location. Let's look at the example. Cha, it is again taken from the dictionary, Ladakhi English dictionary. Na Ladakh la chachan, I will go to Ladakh. Within the senses of physical domain, the most central meaning of the verb cha is almost same as the go in English. In this sense, in example 2 above, the motion towards the landmark away from the speaker's position, a special location, and provides prototypical sense of the verb cha. The destination of theme is primary landmark and thus profile. The secondary landmark is the theme's departure point, the source, which is also backgrounded here. Now coming to the metaphorical transfer of the verb cha in physical domain, metaphor involves a transfer from one domain of conceptualization onto others. Consequently, there is one meaning involved that is called prototypical, and the other one that is transfer or metaphorical. Now, while the domain is the spatial motion verb cha is physical space, in the following examples, it is found that the inanimate movement moves through a spatial path towards a concrete location. Now, it refers to flow. Yurbeana chu chenu. The water flows from the canal. It is also refers to follow, the water flowing from the canal. In this example, the sense is extended metaphorically in a physical domain to refer to an inanimate movement. The image schema, that is source and path, are focused here, and the goal is backgrounded. In the above example, the meaning is remains physical, although it is not the same as the prototypical meaning as in example 2. there has been a shift from the prototypical physical meaning of cha, inanimate movement, to a different physical domain, that is inanimate movement. A similar shift has also been found in some other examples. Let's look at those examples. It also refers to get detached, to detach. Jola lakpenga buteyons, for example, the bag fell down from the hand. And the second one is to break. Gilas make a borna chachachan. If the glass is kept on fire, it will break. This is the example. And it also refers to fall down. Kamba Toksat Sumpa Gelsong, the 3-story building fell down. In these examples, the senses are being extended metaphorically in the physical domain to refer to the motions of inanimate subjects, back that detaches from the source hand, glass that breaks away from the source, unbroken glass, and the building that falls from the source, that is stable building, and concrete objects respectively. In all the cases, the source, path, and goal are profiled here. Now, coming to the metaphorical transfer of cha in conceptual domain, the mappings between different conceptual domains are carried out by means of metaphors. Metaphors are understood as transfers, where properties from one concept are transferred onto another, and in this way it is how they allow us to understand one domain of experience, the target, in terms of another, that is source. The conceptual mappings manifest that the source domain is concrete and target domain is abstract, and the physical sense is viewed being more basic. Let's look at some examples. It also refers to become tasty. For example, masala snama sugna kharji jimbo chachan. The food will be tasty if various spices are put together. And the second one is to incur expenditure. Talo dosung mangbo chachasdo. The expenditure is likely to be more this year. Now, in these examples, the words like jimpo, tasty, dosong, expenditure are used with the verb cha respectively to refer to become tasty and to occur expenditure in conceptual domains. These senses are closely related but distinct from the prototypical instance in terms of conceptual metaphor, which cannot be physically seen here. Now, coming to the change of state, metaphorical meanings of cha. As mentioned above, the change of state expresses the phase preceding an entity's transition to a new state. The metaphorical motion ends in the state which is seen as a new beginning. The topological elements of the motion schema, that is source, path, and goal, are directly mapped onto the structure of the change of state. Let's look at some examples. Again, this example is taken from the dictionary. Cream schooner dong karpo chachan. If you apply cream, your face will turn into white. Be developed. Yula Jospa Yargas Chano. The village will soon develop. And it also refers to transform. Kharji Mambo Zana Gaspa Chachan. If you eat lots of food, you will become fat. Now, this the last example is to become. That is again taken from the dictionary. Ko Golak Songlo. It is said that he has gone bald. In these examples, the meanings are metaphorically extended to refer to turn into the state of before and after turning the face white, develop the state of undeveloped to developed village, transform the state of thin to fat person, and become the state of no bald to bald respectively. The metaphorical usages are extended here to describe the changes of states where source, path, and goal are profiled. Now, this is my conclusion part, whatever I have discussed above. In briefly, within few lines, I will tell you this the conclusion part. The different meanings of the semantic field of deictic motion verbs are analyzed in terms of prototype, metaphor, both in physical and conceptual domains that are central to the cognitive linguistics. The cognitive mechanisms such as metaphor have identified the prototypical and treated the other uses of lexical items as motivated non-prototypical senses, semantic extensions via metaphor related to the prototypical sense in a systematic way. Now, in addition to the senses identified by previous lexicographers on Ladakhi language, this study has succeeded in finding more senses for the deictic motion verbs used for the analysis in this paper. Now, with this, I end my presentation here. These are the references which I have referred to. And thank you so much.
I have something to ask you, Dasi. So I see that the two routes for go and come that you have is mainly yon and cha.
Yes, sir.
Apart from these two, do you have any other root word which is used in the sense of either go or come?
There is no exactly other words, but then, sir, depending on the tense, future tense and past tense, the word absolutely gets changed. For example, to go is cha, but in past tense it is song. So the different word is there for that purpose. Other than that, for deictic motion as such, I think no other words are there, sir.
And then this is also used in serialization. So let's say, for example, Gir Gaya fell down. So for that, I saw that you had an example, something like something song.
Yes, right.
So for fall, there was another verb, and then song was used to indicate the pastness of it. Right. So that thing is also used for indicating the tense markers.
Right.
Just like we have in Hindi and several other Indo-Aryan languages. These verbs are there. So they would be like auxiliary verbs. They might be also used as auxiliary verbs. Okay. Good. It is an interesting thing, and I think if we, let's say, for example, if we use it later on to propagate the verb serialization, let's say in Ladakhi, then this information is going to be of use for that purpose. So thank you. And I think no, do we have any descriptive grammar of Ladakhi written so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think Professor Sainta Kaushal, who is no more with us, she has done extensive work on Ladakhi language for almost more than 2 decades, sir. So she has written a number of books on Ladakhi language. The Ladakhi grammar, the first linguistic Ladakhi grammar was by Professor Sainta Kaushal. And other than this book, there are several other books written by her on Ladakhi language, sir.
Okay. Where was it published?
It was published Motilal Banarasi Das, sir, I suppose. And other books like Phonetic Reader and some other books by published by CIIL only, sir. This Ladakhi grammar was published by Motilal Banarasi Das, sir.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see if we can. We would like to make it available on CIIL portals. Okay. Yes, yes. Anyway, thank you.